Hello everybody, welcome back to Trash Comps. Today we're going to be doing a self-burn Cornelius team. I've been having trouble with Cornelius in the past, making him do a lot of damage and really go off. Oftentimes when I have Cornelius on a team, I pair him with another hero and that other hero ends up outshining him. So I really wanted to see if I could make self-burn Cornelius shine and solely focus on him as the carry. I'll go over it as I play the video. So, first off we have Heiner. He's going to be here for our tankiness and DPS, and of course to apply a lot of Fortify. All our heroes are going to have the Fortify perk, where Fortify increases damage of fire done, and blunt done, but the blunt won't matter as much. That does matter a little bit for Heiner. He's got a lot of shards, he's got a lot of tankiness, we just want him to survive. Block for everybody. Yoger's here because he's going to be slowing down enemies, speeding up our team, applying vulnerability and that sort of stuff. He's also really fun because his bad meat will end up being good meat because it increases curse charges, making it so that Cornelius will have more burn. Laia is going to also be blocking for the team, as well as applying some burn herself and applying some more powerful and potentially bless and sanctify. She's going to help us heal up after a fight alongside Yoger. They're both kind of like half a healer, so together they're a full healer. Cornelius, we have max resistances so that he doesn't burn himself to death. We have burn equals speed, also because it lowers the amount of burn resistance that's lowered. We have max vitality up to 8, or sorry, vitality goes up to 8 instead of 5 for every charge that it's applied to him. That way he can have a lot of health supplied to him by Yoger that he can burn through, that'll hopefully he'll be very resistant to. So because we're going Yoger, we're going to be getting the Wolf. That's just, I think, naturally what you do. I didn't really make a build specifically for Heiner for this team, but his normal cheap build that I have is pretty good. Yeah, it's really just buy 2 helping hands, get a barricade, get rid of the other costly cards, and you're pretty set. Yoger, I did have to make a custom deck here. So the goal is really just to let Cornelius set himself on fire. And potentially help him get set on fire with Yoger's meat, like I mentioned. But other than that, we are just blocking and reducing the resistances as much as possible from the enemy team and giving Cornelius card draw and energy wherever we can. Laia is going to be pretty decent at that. Inner Fire being reworked is nice because it means I can apply fire to Cornelius while also giving him powerful. He does give powerful to himself, so I am running that powerful perk where it only goes up to 7, but it gives plus 10% damage instead of just plus 5% damage. So overall it's a max cap of 70% damage instead of going up to 12 and being a max cap of 60% increased damage. It's not huge. It used to be way better, but they nerfed it. I think it's marginally better for this run, but honestly you could probably go either way. I don't think it matters that much, other than it makes the early game where you don't have as many ways to apply powerful a little bit easier. I am inexperienced in making a Cornelius self-burn deck. I've almost always gone the other direction and just applying as many burn charges as possible to enemies, which also works out pretty great, but like I said, he doesn't tend to shine in those situations. Other heroes like Evelyn or Otis or even Heiner can end up shining a little bit more. Like, he doesn't do bad damage, it's just not like game-ending super carry damage, which is what I really want. So we're going to be going up towards the hatch, of course, because the hatch has some good fire items, good experience, and we can get Honest Work, which will give us a card in our deck that, or sorry, we can get Honest Work, which will allow us to tie up a pig that we can throw into a pit that lets us get the powerful and energy card. So off the bat, we're not doing too bad of damage. It's going to take a while before Cornelius can apply a ton of burn to himself. We're going to be trying to enable that as much as we can throughout the run. Sometimes it helps when certain enemies like Corn apply burn for us. And as you can see, Cornelius actually ends up being faster until, and does a lot of burn. So yeah, that mask, gosh, I have to look and see what that's called again. Searing Nova, I think is what it's called. But doing burn based on the amount of burn that you have on you is really good. It lowers all the resistances for every burn charge that they have, of course, and then it's just a great way to have that burn applied to the entire team. The burnt corn is very resistant to fire, which is kind of weird. You'd think that burnt corn would actually be a little bit weaker to fire than regular corn, given how physics works. But I guess the regular corn is like, maybe the regular corn is like living corn, and this burnt corn is like undead corn. And so that's why the fire doesn't bother it as much. I don't know if that really makes any sense, but there we go. We get a purple helping hand on Laya, which sometimes is worse than regular helping hands, but it's nice in the early game because it'll get rid of some insanity and potentially some shackles at times where we need it. And so far, so good. We didn't really take too much damage on that last fight. Oh, I also forgot to mention, Laya's here to apply Zeal. And ideally as much Zeal as possible to get Cornelius' resistance up to max, because we're going to have potentially up to 200 fire on Cornelius, which can do a lot of damage to him. Especially with cards like Self-Immolate, where he's damaging himself, so we want him to be as resistant as possible. Ideally, with 200 stacks of fire, he gets all the way up to 95% resistance to fire anyways, but that's pretty hard to achieve, so... But yeah, the damage so far, very good. Getting excellence. We are kind of just looking for a few more ways to set Cornelius on fire, as well as make his deck a little bit cheaper. It's really expensive right now, so it's kind of hard to work with. But that doesn't matter too much. Heiner is starting to take a beating slowly but surely, so we want to also watch out for that. Keep him alive, especially because Belfior is a fire boss, and it's kind of difficult to fight. And I am planning to fight Belfior because he drops some decent fire items. And I also am not trying to get the purple imp that you can get in Act 2. As good as it is, I don't think it's necessary for the run. Here we do find a nice purple penance. I forgot that penance also now lights enemies on fire. And that's pretty useful. It allows us to just get that extra fire before Cornelius goes, and reduce all the resistances by a lot. As well as, of course, like, fire damage deals damage itself. I don't know, like, I figured that was, like, something I don't have to mention. Inner combustions are really the crutch of this run as well. They are what allows Cornelius to set himself on fire just a bit more, as well as do a ton of damage based on the amount of fire that he has on him. There's trade-offs, of course, so we'll be having a mix of inner combustions, which is actually, I think, like, kind of cool. A lot of times you only go with one type of card per deck, but it's interesting to have a deck where you're like, oh, I want both types of inner combustions. Although I could be totally wrong on that. Maybe that's not how I should be building them at all. But I'm sure it's fine. Facing an imp here straight away is a little bit rough. As you can see, we're a bit more on fire than I intended, and because I'm, like, really trying not to remove Cornelius's fire, it means that I'm not running dispels or anything, which is a common problem I have in this run. Maybe I could have ran like a single target dispel and that would have been better, but I didn't want to risk losing fire on Cornelius. I thought about the burning blood right there, making Cornelius like take bleed somehow and then turning that into fire while also giving him fury. Might have worked out, could have been cool. I was recently enlightened by a very interesting bleed combo that maybe I'll try out in a future run. I don't know, we'll see. But as you might expect, going down into the fire area while trying to do pure fire damage is a little bit more difficult than going a different path. However, the rewards tend to be a bit better for you as well. Not that there's many better routes than going to the hatch. Like, unless you're going for the straw hat or something, or you really need forest crown. I think this tends to be the best. Although, it's also interesting because, like, being self-fire, it is kind of a little bit better to go this way. I don't know. Like, having the enemies light you on fire is good, so it kind of works out. There, we'll use the blue inner fires to apply a lot of burn to the enemies. That way we can reduce the resistance so the other cards can actually deal some damage. Give Cornelius Zeal right there. Oh, Zeal also, I messed this up because I thought having more Zeal charges would mean that we'd stack more damage for every burn charge we had. However, it doesn't really matter past the first Zeal charge. All you need is one, and then every burn charge you have increases your damage by 1%, which means I don't necessarily need Laya to give me the huge amount of zeal for damage boosting. But like I said before, it is very nice to have a bunch of resistances. Or, sorry, a bunch of resistance, because each zeal charge does give you 7% resistance to everything. So, yeah, it's not bad, but you'll see my level, like, 3 or whatever. I think it would have been better to go the other route where Laya can make her other cards cheaper, switching between Warrior and Cleric, because I am using both. Yeah, that's just a little bit of a mistake. That's fine. Main focus here is going to be taking out the imps before they explode. Specifically the second one, you can see he's got a little bit more fire coming out of him. That one likes to explode and do a ton of damage, so we have to kill it. Belfior also likes to be a jerk and make it so that you lose Inspire based on the amount of skill cards you play, which is going to be a lot, so yeah. It's kind of annoying, but it's not too bad. We are lighting him on fire a good bit, so his resistances go down fairly fast. It's one of the nice things about going mages is like all their elements and stuff to all automatically reduce resistances, so you don't necessarily need a bunch of vulnerable, although we are able to apply it. Belfior does almost wipe my entire team, which is a little bit scary. Fortunately, I might be able to provide enough blocks so that Cornelius doesn't just die. Nope, everybody just dies. Everybody's gone, except for Hyder. So yeah, we get a bunch of death's doors. It's not great, but it's not the easy fight, so gonna have to go with it. We do level up. I am going for the block Laya build, so she's just going to be blocking. That's another reason I wanted to go burn Cornelius, is because I haven't used block Laya yet, so I thought that'd be a bit fun. We pick up a nice war banner here, which is pretty helpful, and it's going to be allowing us to get powerful early on. Thankfully, we do have a cleric, so I can remove all these death doors straight away. That's one of the reasons I wasn't too worried about getting it in my deck, is I knew I could remove it in this campsite. And thanks to Cornelius, we didn't have any hatch injuries in our deck either. I forget sometimes that Yogur has, we just skip his boss fight. I was like totally ready to fight the boss, and I was like, all right, he is the boss. That's the whole reason we came here, is to get the purple wolfie, so we have a consistent source of vulnerable and slow every turn. And look at that, it's working out perfect. We will be getting rid of his sharpens as the game goes on, because we don't really expect Yogur to do too much damage here. I kept him in the early game just in case we needed a little bit of extra damage from him, but we didn't really. And as you might imagine, Yelmer is not super resistant to fire. So we're burning down the tree and it's not very difficult, which is kind of nice. Already he's on his last legs, and we're going to get him well before he acts on round 3, I believe. Although he did just dispel all his fire, which is kind of annoying. I don't know if I have like a good way around that, or if it just doesn't matter because fire is so good against him. He does still have 7 vulnerability. Oh yeah. Oh gosh, Cornelius' special card also scales off fire. Also, look at this, legendary electrocute. God, I hate electrocute. It's just one of the worst like legendaries. I'm very tempted to take it sometimes because I'm like, 4 slow must be pretty good. It does have really high base damage too, and I'm planning to convert all my damage to fire with Phoenix. I show that off right there, so it's like maybe by the time I'm level 4, electrocute could have some use in this deck, but it costs 5. It's just way too expensive for what it is. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's good enough as a legendary card. It's almost always disappointing, even if you're going electric team. I do want to go to the Fireland, but I want to go here first because I'm planning on a little bit of weird tech here, which I want to try Durandal and see if I can get Cornelius to get a little bit of bless on himself to do even more damage, as well as heal himself up when playing spells, because he's going to be getting hurt a lot with burn. So I figure having a bit of extra heal on him specifically won't be bad. He won't make much use of the sharp charges or the extra slash charges, but that's fine. Maybe I should mention the decks a little bit here while we're going through. basically my goal here is to make things a bit cheaper. I am looking at Holy Fire because I know it scales off of fire really well. I'm not feeling like I need it so much right now, but it would be nice to have Laia have a good way of dealing damage. We're very low on money and shards, so I have to be pretty careful about what I'm putting in. So first I will make sure Cornelius has the cards that he needs. Upgrading Fire Blast is pretty nice. Making it apply fire rather than just do damage is a pretty good option. We can get rid of Heat Wave at this point, I think, except I'm not sure if things are going to be applying wet, so I opt to keep it. But you can probably get rid of it here. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I do end up picking up Holy Fire on Laia. That way she has some way to scale damage in the late game, because she's not really like... We don't need her for block so much, because we already have Heiner and Yogur. She's more of a support, tank, damage dealer, hybrid. Yeah, she's doing a lot of things. It's very much a flex role on the team. Meaning Holy Slash I don't think is that good. I'm keeping Holy Nova the way it is because it applies a bunch of Sanctify. But anyways, yeah, we are going for Durandal. That's what I feel like I really need. Unfortunately, we have Laia, so there's actually 2 ways to get to Durandal. Arguably, I could have also spent my money on the Holy QB, and that would have been pretty good. But again, I'm not really looking at Laia to deal a bunch of damage. She's just that support. This fight is a little bit scary because the Lamia is silences. So, in fact, like, I looked at our next upcoming fights, and I think they're all kind of just a bit hard for this team in particular. That lizard just did a good amount of damage. Yeah, I need to rethink how I'm doing this. Restarting that straight away. It sucks that they all go first. Yogur's just, he's too slow to slow them all down consistently. Of course, could make a huge difference, but I haven't been finding speed items for him. So if I could get speed, armor, and rings on Yogur, that might just be the better way to go, but I wasn't going for Forest Crown because of the Dryad, and it almost never appears on Yelmer anymore. I don't know why. Thankfully, we were able to slow down the... Oh gosh, I want to say it's Lamia. I gotta look next time I target it. Lana. Wait, she Lamia, but they call her Lana? Okay, beautiful. Yeah. So we need to target down Lana because she is going to silence the entire team, meaning I won't be able to do any damage past turn 2 if I let her go. Which is why this fight is particularly scary. If I can at least make sure things are dying to burn, that'd be pretty good, but yeah. Alright, we just get silenced. The other option here is we have a bit of burn on everything, so we can potentially tank it out while we get the silence charges off of us and they just die. Lana in particular is burning a lot, but we don't really have ways to deal damage outside of spells. So, really, really rough fight to begin with. There, she does put the charges on herself, and she's going to die to burn next turn. Oh, I tried out Safeguard here on Heiner, because I wanted to see how it felt. Like, I haven't picked it up in a very long time. Unfortunately, Lana got healed again, so this fight's just being very difficult. Didn't have to be this hard, but it was. I think my RNG was just a little bit unlucky. Still, it was fine, especially with where Steel Forge came in. Like, it is working now, but man, poor Heiner. He's gonna die to bleed. He's got 38 bleed on him right now, and I can't really heal it. So I want to kill them all this turn. I can finally play spells again, which is nice because I now have 10 energy. But I need to deal damage randomly. Heiner unfortunately gets to go, and then, man, the Scarab pops up at the last possible second for no good. Yeah, rough start here in Act 2. Hopefully the next fights don't seem as bad, though there are some seahorses that scare me. Given the state that I'm in, where Yoga's super low health, and also I knew they were all going to go first, I didn't think I could take Armageddon. I think that would have just been a game-ending move, so unfortunately no Corruptor here. Still, the blocks are coming in pretty well. I feel fairly confident that once we do have our team going, we're not taking too much damage going further. even in that last fight. It was a lot of poison and bleed that did the damage, so as long as we can kill something pretty fast, we're good, and a double silence turn is about as bad as I would expect. Yoga dying there is rough, but not unexpected. This worm being corrupted is a little bit rough because I didn't really have the tools to deal damage with it first turn. This is a round 2 team, meaning we're planning to like scale up and kill everything round 2 rather than round 1. As you can see, we do a lot of burn and stuff there. Unfortunately, the worm is stealth, so we couldn't really finish it off. Stealth being very annoying. We don't really have any tech against stealth in this team, unlike a lot of other teams I do. I do try and see if I can kill that scarab, because I know I'll be able to kill the worm next turn anyway, but no luck. Or at least I believe I'll be able to kill the worm next turn anyway. A little sketch, but there we go. It all works out. We're all nearly dead. This is fine. That is a gold immolate. That's exactly what I want to find. So that's perfect. I go down because I want to get the healing from the priestess and remove cards, but then I remember that you have to actually pay money to remove cards, and then I would have had enough money to remove them anyways. And then I realized I wanted to go up and through the normal tower, but I realized if I fought the purple, the corrupted seahorse at 23 movement speed, it was just going to slow my entire team, and at the health I was at, all the monsters going before me would die, and I looked at this other fight and saw that they were all kind of slow, so I'd at least have a chance to block potentially and get more health. Yeah, that made all the difference in the world, because only one of them goes. They don't do that much damage because they're more of a self-buff turn, and then we can slow them all down and at least get some block up so we don't die immediately. Very, very tough fight to manage. Cornelius, like at this point, I'm really having trouble in the run and like starting to lose faith. It's just Cornelius again, slightly disappointing me and not doing as much damage as I would hope. We do have the nice delay response helping hand combo with Laya, where you, it's very similar to delay response clarity combo. You can just slow someone down, give them a card draw and energy, and then unslow them with giving them more card draw. So it's very good. Immolate is probably the best way we have of both dealing damage and applying fire. It just comes at the cost of dealing damage to yourself as well. So yeah, I didn't do quite enough to her. I should have targeted her down a little bit more. I didn't realize she was going to survive that turn. Made this fight a lot more sketchy. I can't play that Immolate, otherwise I die. So yeah, a little bit of a tough fight to start out with. And like I said, we don't have ways to remove debuffs for the most part outside of slows. So anything that monsters do to us tends to stick, making this a little bit harder of a fight to grind out, especially because we're not like healing too much like you would on normally a grindy team. But I'm not trying to have this team be grindy. I'm trying to have it kill fast. It just this team takes a while to get going. It's another reason I went to the sand area in Act 2 rather than the fire area in Act 2, because the fire area has Ignito, and I've died to him way too many times on runs where I'm trying to do fire. Or spent like an hour and a half trying to beat him on runs where I'm trying to do fire, taking all the perfect stuff while also using healing rains and just a bunch of other tech to beat it. I do manage to beat this fight. I think this was my like second attempt on the fight. Yeah, I think that was what it was. We saw the first. So it was a little bit hard. This fight was a lot more difficult than I expected to. Unfortunately, the monks are fairly hard for me because they can sometimes remove Fortify or just deal damage through block. So if I block too much, I die. And if I don't block enough, then I also die to everything dealing damage. This combination in particular isn't the worst combination, but the monk alongside the mummy is a bit difficult. Fortunately, we have a lot of block there. You can see our self-immolates are already doing like 50 damage to ourselves. So, God, I'm saying self way too much, I feel like. Making that a little bit scary. The speed up on Cornelius, you can also see, is kind of coming into play. Helps him get up to fast enough to deal damage. He would have been fast enough anyways, but the more burn that we're able to stack on him, the better. Combustion is doing a good amount of damage. Oh, I did make sure to buy Combustion at the start of the act, by the way. I didn't mention it, but like, it is the burn scaling card. So, it's one of the ways that we're going to deal a bunch of damage. And look at that! Everything was going just fine until the monk decided to wipe out my entire team single-handedly because we had too much block. Oh man, very rough fight. So this here you'll find is my 4th attempt, I believe. I had to try this fight a bunch of times. I was almost starting to lose hope because like my first round, it didn't seem that bad. Like we almost had everybody down. I felt like one more turn and I would have killed the monk too. It just wasn't meant to be. But it turned out to be way harder than that because depending on who I focused and how exactly I blocked and also drew cards, I could start to die. So yeah, I don't think I've mentioned yet, but taking Fireproof is just the enchantment that Cornelius gets level 2, gives him plus 33% fire resistance while it's active, plus if anybody damages him for 8 damage hits, whatever, they also get burn applied to them. So nice little way to apply burn if Cornelius ends up taking damage, which he's not going to do as much in the back, also with a bunch of block on him typically, so not like the end of the world. But the resistance is really what I am taking it for. It's weird to play a 1-cost resistance enchantment because I need to do more damage. So anyways, I did figure out more how to play the deck and actually kill everything round 2. So yeah, you can see that is the trial and error of like 4 different times doing the same fight. Definitely was losing hope, had a lot of rough times, but it wasn't that bad in the end. Pick up a QB here. We got a purple ignite, which was also pretty cool. It allows us to apply 14 burn to anyone. I pick up the +2 zeal here like I said I was going to do, because I was like, yeah, it totally does more damage for the more zeal charges you have, and then I immediately realized that it doesn't, and I was like, I should have picked the other one. So, you know, it's always important to read. Yeah. If you're playing this run or doing something similar, don't be like me. Just pick better cards. This run is pretty fun. I think it's pretty dynamic in like the routes you can go and like what you choose to pick up as items. Like I went for Durandal here, but I don't think it's necessary. It's just more of a fun pick for me because I wanted to try it out more. But even though I've been wanting to try out Durandal on like a lot of different builds because it's like a more consistent way to apply Bless every turn other than just Reginald. But yeah. This fight, since we leveled up, I was feeling a lot more confident. I was like, maybe we could do this, but the Corruptor looked a little... I was like, we're not doing a Corruptor or anything like that, so... We're just going to take it nice and easy. How hard could this fight really be? At least we got Steelforge kind of early. Cornelius going really fast there was a little bit sketchy, because he nearly died to burn, and I almost didn't have enough block on him. But thankfully I did. Wasn't really a problem. The Demon in back is a bit annoying, because he does burn, and... slows everybody down, as well as applying vulnerability. But we're healing Cornelius back up. We're giving him block. Things are looking okay. And then we're healing back up as well for the rest of the team. So now that we're level 3, not level 2, we're doing just fine in the fights and even managing to come out better than we went in. So yeah, 147 damage already. Like, now Cornelius is actually starting to pop. His level 3 where he refunds an energy and applies burn to something for every fire spell he plays is pretty good. I go for the more difficult path here. I did slow down the game speed back to 100%, although I think it's running at 30 frames a second. I will tell you this, I absolutely cheat here. So what I do is I do a recording, I look at the video, I slow down the video as all the cards are shifting, I follow 2 specific cards for each one, and I find out where they are. And I did that, I had to rewatch the video 3 different times to find out where all of these were. But the rewards here are just so worth it. I couldn't say no. I didn't know I was going to get Bathset's Grace by making this harder, which is a draw, dispel the dark, dispel Scourge, and get Zeal. So that's pretty good. Here, I knew the answer was Timothy. I was very proud of myself. I was like, yeah, I know it's Timothy. He's the one. So, I have been missing speed on Yogur, so I ended up picking the Steadfast Boots. Laya gets another way to apply Sanctify to all the enemies because her passive allows her to heal more the more Sanctify exists on the field, and the more she's at full health. So, wanted to make sure I had more consistent healing. Cornelius can now bless himself by just playing spells, and Heiner took a little bit more of a tanky armor than he previously had. So, all's going pretty good. I didn't want to speed up Cornelius past Heiner there, if you saw me not give him Inspire. Because I was hoping Heiner could give a little bit more block and potentially just give him that Inspire anyways, which he was able to. Yeah. Anyways, I figured that would be better in the long run. Especially so that Cornelius could be potentially faster next turn by not being slowed down. That darn Seahorse applying slow to the entire team is really annoying, and facing another monk was giving me a little bit of flashbacks to the fight, like, I don't know, not 4 minutes ago or something, where we had to try, like, I don't know, for 30 or 40 minutes. I want to say this is the amount of time I put into that fight. But, yeah. Anyways, we're leveled up now. It's not nearly as bad, and the enemies here, even though I think they're actually a slightly harder variation of enemies, like, we can manage quite well ourselves, and, you know, we already figured out how to beat that fight, right? So, no problems whatsoever. Having Immolate is just so nice. That was a really good free pickup. I was going to have to buy that Act 3 otherwise. I think it's just necessary. Here we get a purple, or we get a Bouncing Shield. Oh yeah, I did also, I took the Corrupt there because getting a Enrage is always nice. It's just nice free energy. Living Flame I take because it's a pretty good damage spell when you have Fortify on Cornelius. I'd normally take it on my Cornelius runs, but I wasn't because I didn't this time because I wanted to go the more self-burn route. But at this point, I felt like I could have a little bit more AoE, and Living Flame does just the right job. Not the best turn out of Cornelius there. Really slow first turn. Bouncing Shield's also not going to be super useful till much later on, but we do have 3 people who block a lot, so I figure it'll get some use at some point. It almost always does. Bouncing Shield is great, and it saves so many runs. So it's hard for me to pass it up. Something I didn't realize about Bathset's Grace is, 1, it only came to the 2 heroes who uncovered it. 2, it's not a boon that you just like draw and applies to you. It is something that you draw and it applies to somebody else or anyone you choose while also drawing you a card. So pretty good. Here I want to make sure I had enough for Living Flame. Inner Combustions are doing a ton. Yeah, round 2. Damn, that was just a lot of damage. Monogem seems pretty good. I do want Scorching Rays too, because that does a good repeat damage that gets better the more Fortify you have. Find another Bouncing Shield as well, and then a purple Architect's Ring. Man, trying to figure out who to put that on was rough. I'm like thinking about other rings. I'm like, what other legendary ring could I possibly want? Cornelius, I might want Kingmaker on him, or maybe I'd want Monoloop, because Cornelius currently doesn't have a ring, and he does have skills, so it could be interesting, although him having it wouldn't be as good as potentially Yogur having it here. So I opt for it on Yogur and hope not to regret it. We get Scarab Shield on Laya because it's just better than her base block card anyway. And for armor, we pick a Burial Mask because it's just a little bit more tankiness, and Cornelius has enough powerful all the time anyway. So yeah, not a big deal. Plate Mail. Yeah, Plate Mail is a really good option for Heiner sometimes, but we're already planning to get the Wall, which allows us to have extra Fortify and block charges. So Heiner should be pretty set up. No reason to buy that for him. And I don't really want anybody else being slower than they are. So it's important to remove our curses there. Finally getting rid of the Death Store out of Heiner's deck. And Intercepts are losing their touch. Need to get rid of these. I get rid of an intercept. I kind of want to get rid of Sharpen too on Yogur, but I forgot. And I have to wait a extra turn. Or sorry, I have to buy an extra card if I want to be able to get rid of the Sharpen. Cornelius, I'm really just trying to figure out what I want. Probably another Immolate. Having 2 will allow me to scale even faster because it sets fire to both the enemies and myself based on how much burn I have on me. So it's potentially better than getting another inner combustion or upgrading my inner combustion that I have. Inner combustion upgrading to blue, by the way, doesn't matter as much as it upgrading to gold, because gold, it deals damage based on your burn. Blue, it just still applies the same amount of damage, or applies the same amount of burn based on your burn, but like it applies like, I don't know, like 2 extra burn on top of that, or does 2 extra damage. I don't know, something that's not very worth it as far as upgrades go. It probably would have been fine sticking with just the normal inner fires or inner combustions. I keep calling them inner fires, I'm sorry. I picked up another Holy Fire on Laya because we got it for free. I just want to see if it was worth it or not. We'll find out. And yeah, here I just have to figure out, is it going to be worth it to potentially upgrade Combustion, get that 1.5 scaling rather than just 1.0? Do we need Prismatic Field in order to survive Ignito? Probably. I debated this for some time before eventually deciding that yes I do. I need Insulate as a safeguard against all the fire damage that I'm going to be doing with Ignito. Plus, I want Insulate on myself anyways because it is an extra 30% fire resist for Cornelius. So overall, it was something I was going to have to pick up, and Cornelius is, I think, only mages get access to Insulate. So he's the only one who could pick it up for himself anyways, even though he's our primary damage dealer, and I don't necessarily want him to have non-damage cards. It's sort of a sacrifice I was willing to make for the future. Similar to how I have to play that non-damage enchantment to deal more damage. Especially with getting self-immolates in my deck. That's one of the reasons I didn't get the second one straight away, is because I was already doing a lot of damage to myself. And that was with very little going on. So there I do end up igniting myself. You see, we had a little bit of wet on us, so it wasn't the best. Fighting a bunny straight away is really annoying. Fighting a bunny plus a seahorse is extra annoying. Fighting a bunny plus a seahorse plus a slime that likes to remove all your block and then double poison on the person who has the most poison. Very, very annoying. Sorry about that. I should have muted my mic there for a second. So, yeah, this fight was a bit tedious and a little bit scary because Heiner just was going to have to take a lot of damage. We did pick up Entrench because Entrench is a almost mandatory block card, just have a consistent source of Fortify. Outside of Steel Forge, it's just a good block as well. I don't know. It's something that I just get on almost every block run. Or sorry, on almost every warrior that blocks. Even. Not just every like run where you have a lot of block. It's just what you need. There, pick up Bluff. It's purple Bluff. It's just a free card draw plus a free Inspire on yourself, so it's pretty good. I do have the Inspire perk on Yogur. I pick up a Barricade on Heiner because it gives us the, what's it called? Fortify, so we don't take as much physical resistance. Or sorry, so we have more physical resistance, so we don't take as much physical damage. I felt like Heiner was a little bit lacking in AoE blocks. Anyways, as I was saying, Yogur has Inspire, gives him 2 card draw, but you can only have a max of 1. I wasn't sure how much Inspire I'd be getting for the entirety of this run, and Yogur tends to be able to draw a lot of cards anyways by just, what's it called? Playing meat. So, he is often a good pick for me. I did also manage to get the upgraded battle plan there. So we have a nice, good way of consistently picking up Steel Forge turn 1 Like, I think we have an over 50% chance of getting Steel Forge on turn 1. That's all I really needed out of that. Because Steel Forge is the way that we win a lot of games very quickly. We get a lot of blocks, so we can play self-immolates, no problem. We're doing 92 damage to ourselves. It's still a little bit scary. See that inner combustion is also just doing 100 damage to an enemy because of all the burn that we were able to stack on ourselves straight away. Yeah, good stuff. And there's a cursed meat too. It just applied like 20 burn. Yeah, you see, I like that cursed meat that I just played from Heiner and Yoga and everybody. It allowed me to get so much done. And because I have 17, vitality, all that health damage I just took actually wasn't that much. Like, I lost no health there and just am doing now massive amounts of damage. So the run has really picked up, whereas before I was struggling at the start of Act 2. I feel like I am thriving in Act 3 here, and I'm fairly hopeful that Igneto won't be a huge painful fight like he normally is for fire teams. The reason that I go towards Igneto, of course, is to get the the lava axe, which I think will be nice on Laia here, so that she can have the extra fire burn on hits, but also transforming all Laia's damage to fire will mean that she gets to benefit off of the burn that's lowering resistances of all enemies to that fire damage, rather than just the doing holy damage of holy fire. So it'll basically give like holy fire an extra 50% damage, which is great for a big scaling card. Divine Strike is something I also keep thinking about, because I'm like, that's a good card to apply Zeal, but that's not this run. I don't really need Zeal or Holy. This isn't the triple Holy carry, so as exciting as it is to keep seeing it, it's unnecessary. These fights are pretty self-explanatory. The first fight's just the normal like animals fight, not too hard. I opt to go for the physical wolves here because fighting physical wolves seemed better than fighting fire mages, and who would likely have a decent amount of fire resistance. Although, like I said before, potentially them applying fire to us could have been a good thing. I don't know. It's a little bit questionable. Cornelius had a spoiled meat there that just applied like 14 burn on himself straight away. I was really excited to figure out, like, when I was thinking about this run, Yoger made this team seem way better to me than the last time I had tried it, because he didn't exist last time I tried self-burn, and now we have just extra ways of applying burn on ourselves. It's beautiful. I love when like a potential negative becomes a positive. It's just, I don't know, something I like in card games. Not sure if other people feel the same. I do manage to pick up a do-it-yourself, so I can give Yoger potentially taunt or Heiner taunt if I need to. It's also just a decent block card. It is another way of, it's another way of splitting up taunt turns. If, say, Heiner has taunt only from his basic card, versus two people having taunt, it's a lot easier to survive something that like does, I don't know, like say Meteor Shower from Magneto that would like to hit 7 times and do a bunch of damage to one single person as it stacks up crack and fire. Now it'll randomly hit between 2 different characters, so that's why I took it. Here we have lots of self-immolates, we're getting burn stacks up, and bam. Yeah. Cornelius getting his starting card up to like, I don't know, 400 damage a hit, and it hits twice, feels fairly strong. At this point, I don't mind taking most Corruptors, because I just feel like I'm really strong. Yogurt not being able to be slowed is a nice benefit of having the Steadfast Boots, even though they're not the fastest, like, or they're not the speediest increase. That's a way to say it. No, they don't give you the most speed per the armor slot, but they do give you that consistency of not being slowed. So it means turn after turn, if I slow the enemies down, Yoger probably can at least stay ahead and do a little bit more for the team. Here I really was searching for Steel Forge, didn't manage to find it. And unfortunately, the entire team gets to go first again, largely because of the big speed buff that they got from the Corruptor. But like I said, feeling confident. Nothing's going to slow me down. Having a little bit of bleed is nice sometimes too from Yogur's base card. I mean, it does give him draw as well as the meat, so that's nice. Gosh, cursed meat just giving me more and more burn. It's working like a charm. Get rid of the slimes and the big guy because we can. Purification. I don't feel like I'm making as much use of it as I should, but it is still a decent card. I don't even play it there or did I play it there? No, I don't think I played it there because it's just not that good. Here we have the Living Flame. I was hoping they'd do a bit more damage and potentially kill, but it's not going to matter because we have Searing Flame. Sets the Harpy up to burn to death, and Cornelius was fast enough because of all the burn on him to go first and kill them before they attacked. Fusion lasers could be really funny, but it's more of a meme here. I don't really need it. We do get Phoenix on Cornelius, so now he can transform all his damage into fire if he draws that card, which means we have the potential to put in other things, like potentially like a ball lightning or really reoccurring nightmare is the card to go to for mages when they can transform their damage. Heavenly Punishment here is a really nice way that Laia has to get Sanctify when you play a defense card. So it gives you more Sanctify charges and damage, I believe. Or sorry, it hits, I don't know, it's more Sanctify charges or it hits more times or something like that, the more energy that your defense card cost. So it's important to have a somewhat high-costing defense card in Laia's deck. That way we can get Sanctify on all the monsters, and now she can really do her job of healing both Yogur and Cornelius whenever she needs to. Heiner, I'm not really worried about healing him because he's just so tanky. Heiner's amazing. Yeah. So, and you know, on the poison run, like I think Heiner just really ended up impressing me by taking out hand check by himself. There Cornelius just pops off and destroys the entire team by himself, like he's just continuously doing. I think about Ice Comet there for just a split second. We rush in. I slowed this down again too, just so anyone can try to follow along, see if they figured out where it was. But of course I cheat, and I did see it there. See, I'm like, I think it's right there, and I did review my video to make sure, and I was able to see it. So yeah. I got it. We get an improved laser for Heiner. It's just his starting card again, but at max quality if you're not level 50 with Heiner, so maybe it's cooler to go this way if you don't have level 50 yet. And having Heiner's starting card again, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's not bad either. So I'll take it. It's another way to start this fight and make it a little bit easier too. Not that this fight's too much of a concern for me. I wasn't sure how I would do against these guys because I know they can scale off of being burned, especially that cannon in the back. Like, he'll just do a ton of damage based on how many burn charges he has. And I just happened to have enough blocked that it didn't matter. Yogur also is providing a bunch of block and regen now, so I really need to get rid of that sharp card in his deck, but otherwise, things are looking great. Holy Fire's doing a lot too, and it'll do even more once we're able to transform that damage. I got Phoenix, and now all my damage is increased by 5, and it's all turned to fire, and yeah. Man, Cornelius just wipes the entire team. Yet again. Also, we have like 4,000 gold and 3,200 shards. Did I mention that like we'd made a ton of money? This is just a really nice run. So I struggled a lot in Act 2, and Act 1 wasn't the easiest, but it wasn't that bad either. It's just like, I don't know, the fluctuation, the highs and lows of this run are very, very high and very, very low. Man. At one point I had turned to Melik and been like, I just don't understand Cornelius. I just don't know how to make him work. But after this run, and after getting to Act 3 here, I was like, never mind. I understand Cornelius. I know exactly how to make him work. He's the perfect carry. I can say nothing bad about him. Man, it took a long time on that helping hand decision there. Was it really like something I had to think about a lot? I don't know. What's funny to me here is that they end up forcing Heiner to taunt, which I was like, yeah, cool. I wanted him to do that anyway. Like, that's why he's got Steel Forge and Taunt on. They also set Cornelius on fire, which was their mistake. We got a purple... I don't know. I'll talk about it later. Here, we get our fireproof stacked up. We have Immolate. I think about just potentially killing the boss straight away. I take out all my block, which is a little bit scary, and then 873 damage off of that inner combustion. Whew, boy, that was doing work. Grimoire of Flames is not needed. That feels so good. Just feels amazing. Here we do want to pick up the wall for Heiner. I'm thinking about what I want for the rest of the team. I want Sapphire Ring for Cornelius, I think, because having a little bit more energy early on will help him do even more. Especially if we get a form of draw for him. We don't have an armor slot really picked out for him yet. His armor is very temporary. So, it could change any time. I'm feeling pretty confident here. I think I could do this challenge. Let's get some more money and some more shards, because clearly I need it. We only have more than I normally get throughout like 3 acts, so let's make sure we get that 500 extra. It's gonna be really worth it. But no, seriously, like, this run's going real well. That monk has 800 health, huh? God, enemies start to scale up real fast in Act 3. I mean, it's not too crazy. I did just deal 800 damage in a single attack. It's pretty good. But anyways, that turn's not the best turn. Turns out having a lot of sads in your deck does really mess up with your draw. It doesn't help that I keep drawing them too. We do get Heavenly Protection this turn at least, so we can apply a bunch of Sanctify. If we drew a defense card, but we didn't. We got Phoenix there, so at least if Cornelius dies, he'll come back to life. It was part of my plan here. I really want to take out the monk before he goes this turn, because he might kill the team through block. But yeah, I'm able to do that. As you can see, I did Cornelius' massive amount of damage at this point, not even having like the most optimal turns. Also with the meat, we are able to stack up more Bless on Cornelius and more Fortify. So both the premium meat and the bad meat are very good for Cornelius, and even the regular meat, of course, gives him plus 8 health per vitality charge, so that's plus 24 more health. Gives him a lot of damage to work with. There, Leia gets a kill. She gets to finish things off. There's a second purple mana gem. I don't know why they wanted to give me purple mana gems on Cornelius this run, but I'll take it. I do really want to get a demonic tutor, because that's just good, right? Like, you can get like more stuff here, but I figure an exotic shop could also be really interesting, and I don't have, like, I have a few item slots that are very open, so I do take the Corruptor here. Cornelius almost dies, and if he died at the start of the year before like anyone could have gone, I think the run would have just been over. So never underestimate Madness 16. You know, the second you're feeling confident, well, as I say, it's a slow and insidious killer. just gotta watch out for that. But aside from that near-death experience, now I'm pretty confident I have everything under control. What could possibly go wrong? I did also manage to get Citadel on Yogur here, which is great because he does have the Last Stand already. That makes defense cards cost 0. So I kind of wanted to get that combo on everybody. It's very fun getting the Citadel Last Stand combos and blocking like crazy for everyone. Here, Cornelius is able to set himself on fire, even though the rain keeps coming down. Is one of the things making this fight a little bit harder is that beaver. Just really making things tough by not letting Cornelius set himself on fire. I mean, obviously removing all the burn charges on the enemies is annoying too, but I don't know why that's the part that sticks out to me is Cornelius, he can't be set on fire. That's sad. I do have this purple hamstring here, by the way. I picked this up like a little while ago. There's that bouncing shield doing a ton of damage. I mainly picked it up because it's a targeted for slow, which is somewhat rare and can often make the difference in a fight. I think it did just here. We got 400 block and We have 400 health on Cornelius, so he's looking pretty tight. This hatch doesn't seem to be too much of a problem for me. Make sure I don't kill that spider there. And then, yeah, now we have AoE. Just blow up everything. There's another entrench we could get on Heiner, but I don't need it. Generally, only one entrench is the right amount to have. I think about repetition training because I want to know if there's a card I could get. I get Reoccurring Nightmare on Cornelius. It's a very good thing to have. Stimulant pills I pick up on Yogur. It's just for the extra speed and potentially extra fast charges. I do want to pick up a push forward on Yogur somewhat soon. Flaming Sword is cool because it does apply burn on hit, and I think that's like pretty decent, but I don't know if I actually need it. I do make that hard decision on Heiner there, picking up that item. I forget what item that was, and I forget why it was hard, but I'll mention it once I see it again. I just have a vague recollection of this. Sorry, I did play this run like a week ago. I looked through it briefly before I started recording, but I don't remember everything quite a bit. Yeah, Mixing Bowl. Mixing Bowl for the extra card draw every turn. It's hard to find better items than that. I don't know. Mixing Bowl is like a silver tier item that is genuinely one of like the best accessory slots in the game. So here we just have to stack enough burn on Ignito till he can actually take fire damage. And once he's at like that critical mass where he's actually taking like a good amount, he'll be easy to burn. So he will heal up to full because of all the burn that's going to be on everybody and not being dispelled. Like doing that holy fire, probably completely unnecessary. Yeah, there you go. Healed straight back up to full. Oh, no, not quite full. He's missing 3 HP. Oh, no, that was just because of the poison. Never mind. Yeah, he healed up to full. So, did a good job. Guardian here, we got a lot of Inspire on Cornelius, so at least he's able to draw this turn. And, yeah, he's at almost 200 burn now, which is back stack, so he's taken some fat damage. Nearly kill him just then. We are able to kill him with a Bouncing Shield, and that's, yeah. That's all they wrote. Ignito, very easy fight, not even close to a struggle. It was cool. I do pick up a Purple Carnage there on Yogur because it's another way to apply a lot of vulnerable. It's very good. And sometimes get rid of evasion. So that's what I did it for. There's the Volcanic Axe. I do think about Overheat, and I want to know, like, I forgot about Overheat, like Lava Crystal existing, and I forgot that it was a ring slot. I thought it was going to be my accessory slot, which we don't want Ignito's Core, because getting rid of all our burn charges would be very bad. But Lava Crystal also helps set Cornelius on fire every turn and gives him the powerful, so that I never have to worry about having powerful cards for him again. Yeah, I ended up having to take it, even though I really liked having the energy from Sapphire Ring. And I was really curious if I could potentially roll a purple Sapphire Ring, because that would give me even more resistance, like plus 10%. I do find Gladiator's Helmet for Cornelius here, which is a very big upgrade compared to the last thing he had that was giving him like plus 17 health, and sometimes doing stuff for dark teams. And then I pick up Endless Bag for Cornelius, because he does have 2 purple mana gems, so the chances that he can play all his cards are pretty high. At least the way that his deck is currently built. I do actually remember to change the do-it-yourself over. Make sure you upgrade the steel skins on Heiner. Honestly, I should have had upgraded steel skins on Yogur and Laya too, because they can make it so everybody's getting like just a bunch of block every turn. I don't know why I don't have that. But here I just need to thin out my decks. At least, generally my goal is like below 20. I have Prayer Protection here as my defense card, and then I remember that I can pick up a Inspire defense card, so I go for that. Cornelius, I no longer need to apply Powerful with Prismatic Field, but I do still need the Insulate, so I changed that to cost 1. We do have another Combustion here, and so I changed that to 1.5 damage instead. And yeah, we have 1 Immolate, which isn't as much as I need. Upgrading the AoE card isn't very necessary for Cornelius. I could potentially keep those Fire Blasts just because I have Endless Bag, but I opt to get rid of them. Because I felt confident in my energy levels, except like, I don't know. Now it's weird because I just got rid of 2 energy on my starting turn. I wish Zeal was a little bit easier to apply. Like I want like a few more cards to just have it, but it's fine. Um, that's what I was looking for on Laya. Like I said, 20 cards is about what I want. Heiner's got way too many cards in his deck, but he did get a lot of good cards to be fair, and I do want like some attacks in his deck to heal up off of the Sanctify that Laya's going to be applying. Last Stand, of course, very strong. That means that I can probably get rid of the Barricade in Heiner's deck. The extra one that I'd picked up was upgraded, so that's probably the reason I grabbed it. And Heiner can then cycle between Barricade and Entrench. Cornelius' deck is feeling pretty good. I pick up an Immolate. I hope to upgrade it later because it could just be pretty strong. I do plan to go through the middle. The bottom fight, I think, had like something that was scary. I don't know, immune to burn or something. Which, by the way, I was fairly fortunate on this run, not fighting, I don't know, like anything immune to burn, I want to say. Like, I had several paths that I could kind of go down, but like, I got to go the optimal path without having to worry about anything being immune to burn. Definitely something to watch out for. Though, as you can see, even without that, you could do a lot of damage. Or without burning the enemy, you can get a lot of damage in, at least in the Act 3 and Act 4 area. Maybe Act 2, that would have been especially punishing. I think had that Lamia been a immune to burn Lana, like in the very beginning, I would have just lost. The beginning of Act 2, that is. And yeah, there we go. We had Phoenix. We got the recurring Nightmare Dream. And yeah, it was 100 damage per energy there. Not too shabby. Could be better. Could have a, 800 damage, 1-cost card. But not bad in the slightest. And we're able to keep everybody pretty full health here. At this point, the run, it's not like too complicated, but I do still have to pay attention to all the cards I'm playing, so. Here, there's a purple Entrench for Yogur, which is cool. Like, purple Entrench isn't actually the best, because Entrench is normally something you want cycling through the deck, but, I don't know. Gives more block. It's not too bad. Getting Meteor Shower, it was upgraded, so it was really cool, but it's also not that good. Because it ruins my Endless Bag combo for, I don't know, probably like a lot of turns. Not this turn. This turn it worked great. I was able to even wipe somebody out immediately. Like I said, we're still a round 2 team, so I'm not expecting to wipe everybody out round 1 most of the time. But round 2, I feel like fairly consistently we're getting that going. But yeah, much like Citadel, the Meteor Shower can be a bit of a curse. Here I have 9 energy, but not 10, so I couldn't play it. Would it have been good to play it? No, not even close. Like, the rest of these cards are doing way more damage. I also don't have Phoenix, so I didn't get that recurring Nightmare Dream. But this fight is not a champion fight, so it's not that hard anyway. And here, yeah, the Holy Fires are doing a lot more damage. I also picked up Fortune Telling so that I can help fix Cornelius's deck if I ever need to. Maybe getting rid of Meteor Showers when it's not the appropriate turn. I am also very much hoping for the, what's it called, cards? Make it free. So Purple Immolate is actually just worse than the non-Purple Immolate because, or sorry, than the upgraded Immolate because it doesn't apply X Fire or X Burn on anybody, including myself. Like, it does have a high base damage for what it is, but it's really bad for self-burn Cornelius, funny enough. Despite the gold version being, like, the key to the whole run. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's so that you can pick up self-immolate as a non-self-burn Cornelius. There, Laya's offering her a little bit of support like she does. These mana gems are coming in. I do end up picking up that Meteor Shower, though, which means I don't get to draw 3 more cards. And Laya dies instantly. Gotta be a little bit careful on who's tanky and who's not. So, there, make sure to block for her a little bit extra. And we do have do-it-yourself, so we can make it so things target Heiner. Because Heiner can take it. I didn't play that do-it-yourself the first turn, but I was very happy to have it. Because that saved Laya's life. And Laya's taken a lot more damage than I feel like she should, although I didn't really have like too much to tankiness attached to her through perks. As far as skill goes, I do feel like I'm getting a lot of use out of the Architect's Ring. If it hits Cornelius at the right times, then it's doing a lot of work for me. And then we have Lay on Pause, so Laya has her one big heal that's pretty good too. This fight's a little bit challenging though. Until Cornelius goes. And then, oh, that's a 633 damage combustion, huh? Oh, look at these inner combustions. Oh. Ah, just massive amount of damage. Take out everybody who's about to go. Cool. I want to see if I can get Bouncing Shield to kill here, potentially. But I don't have enough energy quite to play both Bouncing Shield and the starting hit card. But I don't need it because he was able to slow down or Cornelius was going fast enough thanks to being completely on fire. I also can't pick up that Mass Dispel because I can't dispel Cornelius's fire. It'd be bad. There is a Sapphire Ring, so I'm a little bit disappointed that Cornelius can't get a purple one now, because that would have been 4 extra energy at the start. And that would have been really, 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 really good. I do get purple Steadfast Boots, which is cool. Means that now Yoger's immune to Shackles and he has 1 more speed. And I was able to get a Sapphire Ring for somebody else now, too. I think I picked that up on Laya. So, it's pretty good. I opt for the remove card here because I think there's like a card I want to remove. Safeguard at this point I think is pretty safe to remove. But no, seriously, I don't think it's that good anymore. I do, I do remove Meteor Shower because of how much it's messing with my deck. It's a choice that was really hard on me. You have to understand, I don't want to remove the big, like, this is a really cool card. But I felt like I had to. Here, I hope that the Thorns aren't going to be too bad. It really depends on how much block I can pick up for the team. And, yeah, I don't know. The 16 Thorns on everybody, like, is somehow, like, surprisingly hard every time I have to deal with it, despite it being, like, a level 1 challenge. Because you always face, like, a Lancer, you know? And then that Lancer applies, like, 16 or 17, I don't know, not actually that much, but just it applies a lot more Thorns to the entire team. And all of a sudden, every time you attack a single enemy, you're doing 30 damage to yourself. And if you attack the whole group, that's like 120, and then you die. Like the single Ember Storm just kills you. Thankfully, it doesn't do too bad because I do have Bless on myself now, and there is Sanctify on the other enemies, but Cornelius does almost kill himself there. And I'm not getting the block cards that I really need. Arguably, I should have picked up the Guard there, made sure that Cornelius stayed alive. But he does have Phoenix, so I'm not, like, too worried about him, despite the fact that if he dies, like, I hit all his bird and all his other buffs go away. So, potentially not the brightest of choices here. Bellafor is almost certainly going to kill him. Oh, no, he didn't. He just did a whole bunch of nothing there. He summoned an imp. There, Cornelius dies. All right, perfect. So now we have to set Cornelius on fire again. Make sure that he's really burning up. And Belfior's cousin, I forget what he's called, I don't know, Bellafor or something like that. I can't keep track which one's which. He is pretty tough for this team. Limiting our draw quite a bit for playing skills, and then also making us all get set on fire. And being very resistant to fire, so it's hard to take him out immediately. It's a bit tricky. We also did already go through our campsite, so we're not going to be able to remove Death's Doors. At this point, I don't know that I should probably just redo the fight. That would have been safer, but I'm not too worried about the Guardians. Like, I think I'll be able to manage them. And as long as Cornelius doesn't die here, I think I can accept this. Whether I should or not is another question. Carnage here. I pick it up on Laya because all her damage is transformed, so I want to just see how that does with the Fortify on her. It's a pretty Nice combo. Oh, I had a card that I was removing anyways from the corruption. That's right. That's why I didn't care if I was dying here. See, past me knew what he was doing. I get rid of the AoE card there because I'm not going to need it for a lot of the fights coming up. I mean, we have 4 more fights, or 5 more fights, including the Guardians. So, figure it's not going to be necessary. Here, that Carnage is coming in clutch, applying a lot of vulnerable. And my goal is to take out one of these guys on turn 1. If not turn 1, then at least turn 2. Should be possible, but not very likely. Alternatively, I can set up for a really big block turn so that I can attack into the enchantment that the light guardian does. And now I can make Cornelius go faster. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect fighting technique here. I know exactly what I'm doing at this point. Yeah, Heiner's safe to taunt. He's tanky enough to survive most of the time. He's got reinforce on him, so we're pretty good. Now I don't have meteor shower that can get in my way. We are pretty resilient to fire damage ourselves, so we'll be hurting ourselves too much. We get him down to about half health, which is fine. But I'm going to be looking to do all the damage to him. So we're constantly getting things up to 7 vulnerability, which is nice. Like I'm not really concerned about the resistances of enemies for the most part. Like now they're usually going close to negative 95%, if not actually at negative 95%. Laya's doing a good chunk of damage there too. I really just don't want the Law of Light guy to go because I don't want that Light Guardian to go because he applies Law of Light, and I find it very annoying. Immolate's doing a bunch of damage. Wow, look at that. 600 damage a pop. So we just killed both of them turn 2. I was expecting to kill one turn 2 and then just, Cornelius, the starting card, having like almost 200 burn on himself, dealing about 1,000 damage twice. Pretty darn good. Level up to level 5 here. I was thinking about 3-star chef, and I'm like, man, is that going to get rid of all of my increased curse charges cards? That's not that good. But it's fine. We get a lot of good options here. I think I actually do want to take Bastion over the wall because it's 1 more speed on Heiner, which sometimes actually matters. The resistances are less, and you get less block charges, but for every Fortify you apply, you are also applying more block. So it ends up being about the same amount of block in the end, because Heiner applies a lot of Fortify to the whole team. Golden Laurel is, of course, very good, giving Inspire to the entire team, plus you get a little bit more resistances, which that's what Cornelius needs. He needs all the resistances. So, yeah. At this point, I think the run is pretty safe. We now have more ways to get energized on our characters, so we're pretty good in terms of energy. Also, this is a re-upload, so my voice probably sounds a little bit different at this point in the video, but hopefully that's not too bad. We're still a round 2 team, which feels nice. It's not like a round 3 or 4 team. We're not taking a super long time to finish off these fights, even if they do have decent fire resist. I wasn't expecting the Light Angel to apply wet. Always messing with my burn plans. I'm just trying to light myself on fire, and these guys have to go pour rain on that. So terrible. No respect. But no, what's great is like we aren't super reliant on getting Steel Forge for our damage because we're doing really good damage, just the burn stacks and the base powerful and Cornelius's Fury that he gets to start with thanks to a purple gladiator helmet. That thing has been really wonderful. And although Laya could do more damage if we had better Fortify stacks, it's just not necessary that she does any damage because we can light them all on fire even if they do put wet on us each turn. Cornelius is putting a bunch of fire on himself thanks to the lava crystal and his own passive. Then we have some inner combustions doing some great damage, getting up to 56 fire straight away, and bam, they're all dead. Still can't take Mass Dispel, unfortunately. Pyroblast is a decent card, but it's not for this run. We have other cards that do more. Cloak of Speed is really, really good. It does mean that I can be slowed in shackles potentially, but it will make Yogur faster than the clones and the boss. So we should be pretty set there now. It was a lucky find. It was part of the reason I wanted to do this store. Here for upgrades, or for removals, I don't feel like I need Holy Nova anymore. It's just not the best way to apply Sanctify. The HP gain is nice, so I'm happy with that. And then might as well upgrade Immolate to be yellow. It's doing a lot of damage. Might as well have two that do a lot of damage. We're having no problems getting fire on ourselves. The Purging Ray probably could be gotten rid of, but I keep it just because, you know, what if it's useful? There's also an argument to change this Combustion to a yellow version. I might not need them in the deck because Immolates are doing so much, and Reoccurring Nightmare might just be a more damaging card overall, though maybe not per energy. It really depends on how many stacks of Fortify and other things I'm getting. Bouncing Shield I do want to disappear from my deck. I don't really need it anymore. It does suck that I ended up getting the 10% increase in price on this, but honestly, I didn't have that many things I needed to upgrade anyways. All these are just nice to haves, so might as well upgrade the Combustion to blue, I suppose, even though it doesn't really do that much more damage or fire at this point. Like, I don't think 2 more burn and like 2 more damage is really gonna make a difference on these 600 or 900 HP monsters. So, this is a semi-annoying fight too, because this guy makes it so that they apply rain to somebody random on every single monster turn. So Cornelius, again, he's just having trouble staying on fire. That's all he wants to do, is just burn himself and burn them. Fortunately, we were getting the really good resistance passives. As you can see, we are, I think we're up to 90, or yeah, it was like 90% fire resist? Yeah, 95. Yeah, we have 95% fire resistance right now if we have no fire on us. I believe I was getting up to like 120 something percent fire resistance when I had all these stacks on me. The Insulate and the enchantment that he has, those were all that was all good enough, so I didn't take too much damage. And also, thankfully, having a lot of vitality means I can play these self-immolates. Yeah, they're barely even hurting me, and that's at 102 fire damage. Converting all my fire damage, or converting all my damage to fire too. It's great for the Reoccurring Nightmares, which again just tends to be one of the best damaging cards in the game if you can convert the damage, and bam, everything's dead. Now, I did forget to push forward on Yogur. It was a bit of a mistake. I realize that now. I needed that for him because he has stimulant pills, and without that my team won't be faster than the clones. So yeah, I feel like I'm always making errors at the last second for these runs. It's always here that I realize there's something I could do better. I do end up getting rid of Safeguard because I just find that I don't really need it. I don't need the card draw from it anymore. Carnage isn't being that helpful, so I decided to get rid of it as well, even though there's an argument for me to keep it. It was doing damage with Laya if she got a lot of Fortify, but it's fine without too. We get a first turn Citadel, which is awesome, and we are really just fine. We're trying not to do too much damage at this point. We're just sort of setting up, getting myself on fire, because there's going to be clones and they might just heal everybody up if I can't slow them all down in time. Thankfully, Yogur's slower than, or faster than the clones, and he can slow them down, but he might not be able to slow them down enough. Now, I also potentially have enough damage here to kill the boss on turn 2 before he kills our pets. I just wasn't sure about it, so I wasn't going to try that on like the first attempt here. And, well, one attempt is all we're going to need. This run's going pretty spectacularly. Well, as long as we don't get to turn 3, because on turn 3, this guy turns all fire into dark, and that would blow up Cornelius, because he'd have 200 stacks of fire on him most likely. Yeah, so can't let him go on round 3. We do get Cornelius fast enough, and we're doing great. All that fire on him really is doing wonders. I just need him to kill all the clones by himself, which, you know, sometimes is pretty difficult, but these immolates, they're doing a lot. And Cornelius has 500 HP. Yeah, I really love the way this run turned out. Also, that one energy cost of Reoccurring Nightmare did 1,000 damage. Like, we're at 44 Fury, 47... Yeah, 47 Fortify, 7 Powerful, 22 Bless, and we have 200% more damage thanks to all the fire on us with that one Zeal that we have. So I think that's somewhere in the range of like 300, 400% more damage, just base, plus like the Fortify and Bless, which was giving us an extra like 60 something, yeah, 66 damage on every fire attack that we did. So yeah. This run was so much fun. I had a blast doing this. Cornelius had a blast too, probably. Sorry, bad joke. The Archon, I'm not really too worried about this point. There's an argument for me to have slowed Cornelius so that like he doesn't have to attack him during the fire resistant turn, but I don't know. I honestly, we're doing so much damage anyways with the 7 vulnerable and the full fire damage that I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, I could have slowed him right there with that. But yeah, so just 14,000 HP to get through. It doesn't take too long at this rate of damage. Unfortunately, we don't have the Phoenix Flame, which would have been really nice for these Reoccurring Nightmares. I do end up playing the card just so I could get the bag, but unfortunately, I also still don't have a weapon on Heiner. No, that's not what I was going to say. Heiner's 400 block almost gets him killed, which is a little bit dangerous, but that's fine. He was able to use it for bouncing shield. Did some good damage of his own. These Holy Fires are going to do at least like 1,000 damage if I can play both, but I can only play one. Yeah. Oh well. And then Phoenix is here. We have Fire Shield. That's really going to be the 2,500 damage. Oh man, 1,004. Oh god, that was like something like 2,000 damage per fiery shield hit. So good. Self-burn Cornelius. New champions make him so much fun. Here, I'll just go through the decks really quick, like always. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you had fun. I sure did. This was great. Sorry for the re-upload. If you want to watch more, please take a look at the other playlists videos on across the Obelisk challenges. Cornelius took the most damage thanks to his self-burn, also healed himself the most with Durandal, and did the most damage done. I mean, he didn't do the most healing Laya did, but so nice. Alright, that's going to be it for this, so hope you all enjoyed, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.